Honorable Men Discord. Let's talk about the Harvest album.
Big lips, black skin, large nostrils with my thinking cap screwed on tight. A young apostle, secular's the gospel. You have to reach them where they lay, down and dirty in the trenches, take a knee.
The name Danilo was actually my name. It's actually my middle name. And in the past, when I first started this music journey, I was going under the name Low Key. And I came to find out that there's an artist in the UK by the name Low Key. And so he's a signed artist. He's already, had an imprint in the music in the UK. So I removed that name. And when I was looking for a name to use, I said, you know what? There's nothing realer than using your actual name. So I went with Danilo. It's a unique name. It's actually my father's first name. So I said, I'm rolling with Danilo. I'm from Queens, Flushing, Queens. If you're familiar with the Globe from Queens, I'm not too far from that area. I could actually walk to that Globe. And it's the home of a lot of artists. And I'm proud to be from Flushing. So the title The Harvest came to me because I was looking for a strong title to embody all the soul and effort I put into the album. And The Harvest for me just represents the songs that I have on the album, which I see as seeds that I'm planting to the audience, to this world. And how it sprouts, how my music blossoms, how you all receive my music is part of the harvest. So my music is the seeds, metaphorically the seeds that I'm planting to the world. And I'm hoping that you all embrace it and you enjoy the hard work that I put into this album. I have 12 songs on this album, 12 songs that could stand alone. I believe in each and every last song. And again, when I approached this album, I approached it with the mindset of I didn't want any filler tracks. I wanted it to be something where each and every track, when you listen to it sonically, when you listen to the lyrics, you can say to yourself, oh, he put effort. I didn't want any song to sound like, oh, this is a throwaway. There's not one throwaway on this entire 12-track album. So there's a lot of artists that inspired me, and I'm going to take my time and let you know which ones, because they all played a role. Directly from my neighborhood, there was a handful of artists that came out of my neighborhood. Large Professor is one of them. You may know him from Main Source. That's where I learned of him from. His record, Looking Out the Front Door, it was like a staple when I was a lot younger. And then you have Royal Flush, you have Mike Geronimo, you have Neat the Exotic. These are gentlemen that I was able to see face to face, live in person. And to watch them do what they did in the music industry, it was inspiring. I was actually, I want to say I was a teenager when Mike Geronimo shot his I'm So High video on my block. And I remember standing on the balcony on the second floor watching the camera crew set up to shoot his video. And it was like, I was already in love with music by that time, but to see it happening right before my eyes, that was inspirational. So seeing those direct individuals making music was inspiration. I also have to note, rest in peace, Shiloh. He was the DJ for Onyx. Again, Onyx back in the days, another Queens group. Their records were inspirational. And then to see Shiloh from the block as a DJ representing Onyx, another great inspiration. I had an opportunity to actually work with him before his passing, and I'm forever grateful for knowing him, as well as knowing all the men that I just mentioned from my neighborhood. So they were inspiration. And then outside of my neighborhood, I found inspiration in artists like Nas, the way his storytelling and his wordplay was inspiration. Hearing Nas on tracks, it just blew my mind. it blew my mind what he was able to do as an artist. But there's so many other artists I don't want to take away from them. You know, the Tribe Called Quest, LL Cool J, Salt and Pepper, Farside, Lords of the Underground, Chuck Rock. I mean, I go way back with this music thing, you know. So the entire hip hop culture inspired me, you know. And forgive me if I forgot a name, but I really owe it to all of those men that came before me that put out incredible music. Creative process is well, one, I have to find a beat that resonates with me, and once I find that instrumental, once I connect with the sound, I like to sit on it, meaning I would play it repeatedly. I know it might be annoying for the people in the household, but I would listen to that beat over and over and over again. It's almost like getting to know each other, and I allow that beat to talk to me and tell me where I should go, which direction I should go. So I would close my eyes, I'd put my headphones on, and I would be in my little quiet space. Most of the time I would write when everyone in the household is sleeping, and I would just go into the bathroom. I would sit at the edge of the bathtub, and I would close the door, put the beat up, and I would just rock out to it. I would just, bob my head listening to the music, and I let the music, guide me and I would start writing. I would sometimes come up with the chorus. Most of the time I would come up with the chorus first, and then from the chorus, then I start building on the verses. And that's how I usually put together my songs. Favorite record from the album? That's tough, because again, each and every song, I wrote it with my complete soul. So each and every song is special. But if I was to choose one song, which is unfair to the other songs, it would have to be Numbers. Numbers, featuring an artist from Harlem by the name of Snooze. Numbers, I just love the energy. It's one of those songs that I would love to perform for the public, and it's actually going to be my next video that I'm going to shoot in May, God willing. So the Numbers is definitely, I want to say, one of my favorites. All of my videos, I don't know if I can say I have a favorite video, because each and every time I shoot a video, I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a ball shooting a video. I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy store recording the videos. And it's unfair to choose one, but I'm going to choose the very first video that I shot, which was for Cultivated. And the reason why I'm choosing that is not so much that it's the best video, it's because it was the first video that I shot from this Harvest album. And I shot it in Cartagena, Colombia, on a yacht. And that particular video, I actually was inspired to shoot the video by one of my former colleagues, who at the time when I was going to Cartagena and I was thinking about renting a yacht. By the way, that video was shot on my birthday, and I was just going to rent a yacht to enjoy my time out in Cartagena with my cousins. And my colleague was like, "You do music, why don't you shoot a music video?" And when he told me that, I was like, you know what? I should shoot a music video. And then when I shot the music video, I had a ball. It was an amazing experience, and I just keep duplicating it with each video. So the featured artist, I want to say, was all organically placed on the album. Nothing was, I didn't reach out for artists. It just worked organically, and they all have unique stories. I want to first start with the intro to the album. So the intro of the album is starting off with my sisters. My three sisters are singing the intro. They're singing the Black National Anthem. And that particular intro and that particular feature was special because that was inspired by En Vogue. En Vogue had a song from their debut album where they sang a cappella. They were singing, I want to believe it was a Jackson record. They were singing a Jackson record, and that a cappella always stuck with me. And so when I had an opportunity to form an album, I wanted that same feel. So I had my sisters who all throughout my lifetime, they would sing. So I had them start off the album. So I started off the album with Family, right? And then I also had a childhood friend do like a parody of a pastor on my record, Church Boy. So he came through for that. You know, I told him exactly what I was looking for, and he delivered on the spot. You know, I talked it over with him in the studio in real time, and he knocked it out the park. You're gonna hear him on Church Boy. I have Snooze from Harlem. Snooze is someone who I met through my wife's sister, because he's dated my wife's sister. And through that, I found out he does music. He also raps, and we started talking. And so he was actually along with me in the earliest stages of putting this album together. So he heard a lot of the records before I even went in the studio and recorded. So he's featured on the Numbers song that I mentioned. So that Numbers record is, again, one of my favorite records because how it came together. And then I have Shells. She is an amazing vocalist who I was blessed to have on 2 of my records. She's on Pain, and she's also on All Right. And I met her through a friend who I happened to be hanging out with a friend of mine, and he stopped over at her house, and then I started talking to her, and she told me that she sings. And I said, oh, really? I said, all right. You know, I said, maybe one day I'll get you on one of my songs, because I'm constantly writing to these instrumentals. And that day came. And when I was recording, I gave her a call from the studio, which at the time I was recording in Jam Master Jay's old studio, at least in that building. I don't know if it was a specific studio, but in that building, I called her up and I said, could you come through? And she came through and she laid down the vocals for Pain. And then some months later, she came and laid down the vocals at a separate studio for All Right. And she knocked both records out of the park. You've heard you've seen my reel for Pain, and that's her. And she did an amazing job. And I thank her for that. And I'm trying to think if there was another feature. Yes, how could I forget my cousin Nitty Don? He's also on 2 records. He's on Trinidad, although he couldn't make the Trinidad video. He's on Trinidad, and he's also on Dear God. So again, very organic features. Again, my sisters, Shells, Snooze, and Nitty Don. And then, of course, my childhood friend, C. Thomas, who did the parody of a pastor on Church Boy. Producers on the album. So there's only 2 producers on this album. So I want to say, well, 99% of the album is produced by Jimmy Dukes, who's a producer who I met from my searches online when I was looking for producers, and I came across him. He's from Albany, New York. So the majority of the songs, 11 out of the 12, was produced by Jimmy Dukes, and he's someone who immediately when I heard his beats that he had online, I connected with them, and it was a no-brainer. I was like, I just kept going back to the website, and I kept buying beats from Jimmy Dukes. All right, so he produced 11 out of the 12. The one record that's not produced by Jimmy Dukes is The Interlude, and that was a young brother that I met from one of my old jobs in the Bronx, my time out in the Bronx, and I came across this young man who, during a summer work program, he told me he produces, and I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Let me hear something you produced that you made," and he let me hear that particular track, and I said, I'll write something to it. And so then I wrote something to it, we connected, and we took that track to Jam Master Jay's old studio, and we did the interlude. So when you hear the interlude, it's by the young brother from the BX. So shout out to the BX, and shout out to him for his contribution to the album. I appreciate it. Listen, I'm accomplishing what I want to accomplish right now. Doing this interview, shooting the music videos, having a release date, an official release date, it's a work in progress. Everything that I'm doing is an accomplishment. So, It's a blessing, to be able to share this with the public, and I'm enjoying every last moment of it. Believe me when I tell you, I'm enjoying every last moment of it, even the headache parts of it. All right, so even going through this interview, no Mercy Harlem could tell you, but he won't tell you now. But we deal with a lot of BS to make these things happen. But I'm enjoying the whole process. So I'm living the dream. I'm literally living the dream. So the harvest is dropping May 22nd, and I chose that date because it's the day before my birthday. My birthday is May 23rd. Yes, I'm a Gemini. Don't be scared. I know they say two faces, but I'd like to say we're the creators of the world. All right. Lauryn Hill, I believe, is a Gemini. Tupac was a Gemini, and can't think of anyone else. But why do you have to mention anyone else when I just mentioned Lauryn Hill and Tupac? So if I'm wrong on that, but I think I'm 100% sure Lauryn Hill and Tupac are Gemini. So yes, the Harvest album, is dropping on May 22nd. Again, that's the day before my birthday, so I'm doing this as a big celebration. So the album was recorded in 3 separate studios. Again, I mentioned the studio that no longer exists, that used to be Jam Master Jay's studio. New management took over after his passing, may he rest in peace. And I recorded there. I recorded at Mixer Head Studios in Whitestone, Queens. And then the third studio, I don't know the name of that studio, but I know the engineer. So I have to shout out the engineer, Teardrops. But whilst I'm at it, I'm gonna shout out all 3 engineers that contributed to this album. So I'm gonna start with HDMI. Incredible engineer. Shout out to the engineers. And let me just say this too. I don't think we give enough credit to the people behind the scenes that make our dreams come true. HDMI, he was the engineer that engineered, he engineered my Trinidad record. He engineered Dear God. He engineered Pain. Those 3 records that I can think of right now. So he engineered Trinidad, Pain, and Dear God. I want you to take notice of that because he put his imprint within the music. And then Mixer Head Studios, David Raidman, shout out to him. He has a whole catalog at his studio of mine, but he produced a lot of the records. I can't think of the exact records. And then I ended off with Teardrops. There was a studio not too far from Queensbridge Projects. So again, all 3 studios in Queens, and Teardrops came in. He engineered All Right with Shells. My second record with Shells, Teardrops engineered that. But he also put his imprint on other records as well. He put his imprint on my intro with my sisters. So shout out to Teardrops. And shout out to all 3 of them. I appreciate you all. One more thing. What
happened? I thought we was done.
One more thing.
Oh, come on.
Listen,
all right, what else you got to say to the people, man?
First of all, what I should have said at the beginning is first I want to thank God for blessing me with being able to see another day, another year. I want to thank my mother and father, who I did not mention. My father, I recorded him, put him at the beginning of the Trinidad record. So listen out for that. That's my pops. The beginning of Tats, the Tats record. That's my mother. I recorded her also. Both of them, I intentionally recorded them so they knew that I was recording them for my album. Again, this album I present to you all. This is from the heart. This is why I took my hat off, especially when speaking about God. So I just need to let that be said and noted, because the reason why the album cover you see me praying, the reason why you see that crucifix behind my ear is because of I was raised in the church, although I haven't been doing a great job of exemplifying that. I give all praise and all grace to God because I've seen a lot of people come, a lot of people go. I'm still here. I'm blessed to be here. And again, it's my honor. I'm grateful to share this album with you. I don't have any expectations. I'm living the dream just by sharing it with you all. And I hope you guys embrace it and share it to, with your friends and family and let them know about the album. Let them enjoy the album. Rock out to it in your car, rock out to it at home with the lights off. However you rock out to it, with your headphones on the way to work, just enjoy the album. So again, I have to thank my parents and for raising me, and I have to thank God for allowing me to be here with No Mercy Harlem doing this interview. I'm done now.
Denalo, let's go.